Though the United States contains only 5% of the world's population, it has a fourth of the world's prisoners. A major issue in this pandemic is drug use. In fact, there are more prisoners now that are in jail for drug offense than there were prisoners total in 1980. Unfortunately, here in New Mexico, the national average rate was nearly 43% higher than the rest of the country in 2014. And those who make it out of the prison systems are usually pulled back in. In fact, 46% of all women prisoners in New Mexico will return to jail in 3 years' time, with a similar story on the men's side. But there is hope. While these figures are depressing, there is a handful of places that reach out to the downcast. 2 of the organizations are Under His Construction and New Path Ministries.
I became a chaplain in 2012, and I got involved with jail ministry, which allowed me to go into the local jail here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, to teach Bible study to the women there. And after observing their brokenness, I had a calling to just invite them to work at the insurance company that I used to work at, used to own. And they had the advantage to work up to a telemarketer all the way up to a licensed producer. And in doing that, I just fell in love with the women, and I wanted to help them with career development, give them confidence, and give them hope, and give them first and foremost the message of the Lord, and help them to find their gifts.
I met Sonia when I was incarcerated at MDC. That's our jail here in Albuquerque. And she said that if I needed a job, she would help me out. She was actually doing a Bible study there at the jail. And so when I got out, I put in a bunch of applications, did a fancy resume, and with a not so good background, it's really difficult to get a position. So I started working at her insurance agency.
Under His Construction is an organization that provides housing, educational and career development and opportunities for those who are less fortunate. We have several different types of career development programs for both men and women that we try to extract the spiritual and gifts and talents that God has given to men and women, where they feel comfortable in those gifts and talents and use them as God would like.
We've collaborated with New Path Ministries. It's a men's program. It's a 15-bed men's home. And so now we offer career development with men and women. We have moving, landscaping, construction for the men and for women. We have floral design, photography, metal arts. And so these people that come into our program not only learn about God and their gifts in Christ and their love of Christ, but they also learn a career setting so that they can be beneficial to the community and for their own lives and children. We now have a family home for the men that are in the program. It's a year program, and so we house the wives and children of the men. And so it's really growing. Our main contributors are our wonderful partners, our prayer leaders, our board, and the retail program that we have. It's a thrift store at 5311 Acoma, southeast in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we get donations from all over the community and from our church, and that helps us fund the house, the utilities, everything that we do here at Under His Construction.
Tim Gallagher, and I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I came to this organization about 4 years ago. I was in a medical detox facility in Albuquerque. I was suffering from a 12-year heroin addiction. When it was about time for them to kick me out, they handed me a list of resources, and among them was New Path Ministries.
There's an old adage that the best treatment can only come from a physician who once had the same disease. And for Chris Cleveland, this happens to be true.
I led a life of self-gratification, escapism. At the age of 12, I chose to use drugs and alcohol, which led to a lifestyle, 28 years of downward spiral of misery, and then a miraculous transformation by God. In 2002, where God got a hold of my life and transformed my life. I had a spiritual awakening in jail after a series of 44 arrests and 69 felony convictions, known felony convictions, and was facing 80 years in the penitentiary. And God got a hold of my life and showed me how destructive I was and how rampant sin was in my life and how He was going to transform it if I would just submit to Him and be obedient to my calling. And after God awakened me and I surrendered my life to Him, He removed my addiction, my drug addiction, and which included alcohol and tobacco and crack cocaine, meth, all at one time. And so I've been clean and sober now for 15 years. When I had a spiritual awakening, God gave me a vision that He was going to transform my life, but then He was going to also, that He had equipped me, called me, and was going to use me to transform others' lives by using me as an example and a witness for Him.
What we've done was I got comfortable with the insurance company, and the Lord called me out of that to start under His construction. We now provide housing, education, and career development to underserved men and women. And what I've discovered is there's such a great need. Drugs all over. We have a very high recidivism rate here in New Mexico, and our goal is to reduce that recidivism rate, help these people not only to get off drugs, but to know Christ and know their gifts in the Lord, and to also be confident enough to start a career or be in a management after their time with us.
I have worked with other programs, secular programs, Christian programs, and this program. And what I can tell you about this one is the people that run it, the people who work 80 hours a week to make sure that the men and women in their program have food and clothes, they truly care about the individual, about the family, about what they're doing. That is what separates New Path from other programs.
I love the fact that you can see God's work every day. Something new happens and somebody is being changed just through God's grace, and it's just great to see lives changed and people doing better and better every day.
Through this ministry, I actually met my wife while we were serving together. I met my wife. 9 months later, we were married. We have a beautiful 18-month-old baby. I work for the state of New Mexico as a bench warrant enforcement clerk. I'm actually now a financial specialist. I just got promoted again. God has blessed me in so many ways. I talk about John 10:10. The thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but I come to give you life and that of more abundance. And I'm the perfect and prime example of that, and I got that through here. He has given me life to the fullest, to the abundance, a complete and full life.
So whenever I was incarcerated, of course my kids were in CYFD, and I've gotten all my kids back, and my daughter just signed up to work in the church. Kids are straight A's, we're having a little family. Life is good. Life is so good, and just the job training and the support and the encouragement to be close to God made all the difference in the world.
despite its good intentions, the organization has limited resources.
Well, we do have partners and monthly contributors, and we have a lot of people that are praying for us. Our board contributes to us, but the main source would be our thrift store, our retail program. And the women and men in the program come and they can learn retail services, and we get donations from all over the city.
Well, our community, not just Albuquerque, all cities are under attack. We're in a battle, and the battle is spiritual, but it's also impacting our community, our families, and it's the drug and alcohol problem has led to increased crime, increased population in prison, and so by funding our program, where we are changing and impacting families through our instruction of overseeing the man and God transforming him, and then now having the family home where the husband is now reading the same word and fellowshipping the same reading with his wife and family, and it's transforming families before our eyes. It's a 15-bed transitional living home, but if we can take one man at a time, and we can transform one man through the power of Jesus Christ and what he's doing through us as a conduit, and teach him to live a life that would be pleasing by making good choices, that he would be transformed. And if he transforms, then he would leave a legacy for his children and his children's children that would have an impact on our community. And so we would, our prison population reduced, our insurance costs reduced, our crime level reduced, all because of just transforming one man at a time.
You just got to be consistently consistent, continually in God's grace, continually seeking the Lord no matter what, man, no matter what situation you're placed in, no matter what, man, just continue to keep your eyes focused on the Lord, and he will move for you, man. He will bless you, man, if you keep it real with God.